This is Texas News Now, sponsored by Germania Insurance.
Let's take a look at today's headlines from Houston. I'm Trayson Bragg. This week, a family and their West Houston church community are mourning the loss of a beloved pastor. They say Pedro Cantu was tragically shot and killed early Saturday morning inside his own home on South Kirkwood Road. Orko Manna has more from the very emotional church service.
A packed house today inside Amor and Restauracion Church in West Houston. The community coming together to pray for Pastor Pedro Cantu. We've learned Cantu was shot and killed inside his home on South Kirkwood Road just after midnight Saturday. Cantu's family is speaking to the community during their Sunday prayer service, calling him an incredible, hardworking man with a strong faith. My husband loved you all deeply, his wife said, adding he loved the church deeply. I never heard him speak ill of anyone. He loved you all sincerely. Houston police say around 12:15 a.m. Saturday, they responded to a home on South Kirkwood Road for a burglary. The person who called police said they heard glass shatter and what sounded like someone actively breaking into the home.
At that point, some type of altercation ensued inside of the residence that led to gunshots. There were 2 gunshot victims here on scene. Both were transported to area hospitals. One was pronounced deceased at the hospital, and one has been charged with murder at this time.
HPD describing the homeowner who was shot and killed as a Hispanic man in his 60s.
How are you feeling?
I feel sad, but I don't know nothing about it.
This churchgoer tells me Cantu was a sensitive man who touched many lives.
Everybody is sad because he's a good pastor, so everybody is missing him.
As the community tries to process this terrible tragedy, Cantu's family says even though he's with Jesus now, his legacy continues. Reporting from West Houston, Orko Manna, KHOU 11 News.
A very sad situation there. Orko also reporting on a very scary situation for an Aldine area family after investigators say a burglary suspect who shot at deputies barricaded himself inside their trailer home. Thankfully, the adults and children inside are all okay. The Harris County Sheriff's Office telling us that suspect faces several charges. The break-in and shooting happened early Saturday morning at a barbershop in North Harris County.
Harris County Sheriff's vehicles surround Bravo Barbershop in the Aldine area early Saturday morning. Investigators say a burglary suspect was inside when he started shooting at deputies.
Scary.
Oswaldo Bravo owns the barbershop and tells us he saw the suspect inside his business on surveillance cameras. He called 911 and then came to his shop.
And the guy was here. 10 minutes later, they show up. I hear shootings back there, boom, boom, boom. I guess about 15, 20 shots maybe? Yeah. Loud shots.
The sheriff's office says deputies gave the man verbal commands, but he opened fire on them. In the daylight, several evidence markers could be seen, some next to bullet casings. The sheriff's office says the suspect then ran out of the barbershop and forced entry into a nearby trailer home while a family with young children was still inside. The suspect allegedly knocked on the door before going in. Investigators say the several adults and children inside got out safely.
Feel for the family. I mean, you know, it's 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. You get waken up by some stranger with a gun. Oh yeah, you're gonna feel threatened, you know?
The sheriff's office says when deputies went inside and took the suspect into custody, they saw that he got shot during the shootout at the barbershop. He was taken to the hospital and is expected to be okay, now facing several charges, including aggravated assault with a deadly weapon on a peace officer and felony burglary. No deputies were hurt.
I'm just tired, exhausted.
Bravo now having to repair the damage to his business.
He ruined my day. My day was so super busy today. I had to cancel everybody, but it is what it is, you know. I don't hate the guy. I hope he's okay.
Reporting near Aldine, Orko Manna, KHOU 11 News.
A sweeping gambling investigation in Hitchcock ends with dozens arrested, including the city's mayor. The Galveston County Sheriff says the crackdown followed months of complaints from the community. In total, 21 search warrants were issued for 20 locations, and 749 games were seized. More than $400,000 in cash taken, and 33 people were arrested. The sheriff also revealing the city was benefiting from these game rooms.
Through our investigation so far, we have found out that the city of Hitchcock is deriving about roughly $800,000 to $900,000 annually from these game rooms that is going into part of their annual budget.
Officials stress they're not just targeting workers inside the game rooms, and they warn this investigation could expand even further.
The district attorney's office is not going to just go after low-level cashiers and people like that making payouts on illegal gaming operations. We're going to go for the whole operation.
Investigators say they may request that the IRS and the FBI join the investigation. They add they expect more arrests in the future. All right, the sport of curling has been around for centuries, but rarely we hear about it much here in the U.S. until the Olympics, that is. But did you know that Houston has its own curling club? Yeah, I didn't know that either. Ron Trevino went to learn a thing or two from the club in the heart of Sharpstown.
It's not the Cortina Curling Olympic Stadium in Italia. It's the Belle Reve Ice Center in southwest Houston, and the stones are sliding like silk on glass. There's yelling.
Sweep hard!
There's sweeping. A sport that goes back to the 1500s in Scotland. What's it all about?
The sport is throwing 8 42-pound rocks from one end of the sheet of the ice to the other end. And the point is to get it closest to the center possible.
That's Andy Cho, the president of the Curling Club of Houston. Yes, we have a curling club. It's been in existence for 5 decades.
I joined the club specifically a couple summers back when it was just 100 degrees, and I was looking for something cold to do, and I didn't realize that Houston had a curling club.
So the brooms and the sweeping, intriguing, odd-looking, but so important.
So we help the stone along as much as we can. Try to give it direction, try to give it speed.
Okay, let's give it a try.
Sweep, 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 sweep.
I'm already messing it up. I need to be in front of the stone. It's definitely a workout, though, and who doesn't need a good workout? But how about what I view as the really hard part? What's called the delivery.
Not very easy.
Like all sports, it can take a lifetime to master. I only had an hour. Still, I didn't give up.
There you go.
Not very graceful, but dare I call it my very own miracle on ice?
That was scary, actually, but I didn't hurt myself, so yay for me.
And hey, I got 4 years to train for the next Winter Games. Piece of cake. Ron Trevino, KHOU 11 News.
Ron Trevino, the KHOU 11 curling champion. We love you, Ron. All right, that's a wrap of your Houston headlines. I'm Trayson Bragg.
In Austin, I'm Darrenisha Heron. A new partnership in San Marcos aims to make a popular nightlife spot safer. KVU's Daniel Perot shows us how Texas State University and San Marcos police are teaming up to increase patrols in and around the square.
With all the bars and restaurants in this area, on a Friday night like this, it's a popular place for Texas State students. But mix that with the increase in violent crime in this small area, police say you've got a dangerous cocktail.
Most of the violence, either being the victims or the actual perpetrators, are not university students.
In response to several violent incidents, including multiple shootings on Halloween weekend, late last year, San Marcos police increased staffing around the square.
We had to rob Peter to pay Paul. We had to take officers out of normal patrol allocated positions and put them downtown so we didn't have a repeat of that violence.
In January, Police Chief Stan Standridge permanently assigned 4 officers to a dedicated team focused on the downtown square.
We really don't want enforcement. We want relationship. I want those officers to be proactive. I want us working with those bars to prevent issues before they ever manifest.
Pulling them off the streets and putting them downtown isn't cheap. So Texas State University is giving San Marcos Police $150,000 to help cover those costs.
We want continued collaboration. This is the first step.
Around the square, Standridge says there's a visible footprint.
I want everybody to know this is a safe environment. We're going to ensure it remains safe.
So far, the chief says it's working. They haven't seen the kind of violence downtown they saw last year.
It looks remarkably different than it did just 4 or 5 months ago.
The funding runs through the end of June. Standridge says they'll reassess what things look like for the fall. But one thing's for sure, that dedicated downtown unit is here to stay. Daniel Perot, KVUE News, San Marcos.
Daniel, thank you. Some newly certified Texas real estate agents say they're ready to sell homes, but a backlog has them sidelined. The Texas Real Estate Commission confirms it's behind on issuing licenses, leaving some agents waiting weeks or even months to get started. KVUE's Jose Alonso tells us what's causing the delays.
When you see a for sale sign in a neighborhood, you might just be thinking about how nice the house looks or how much it cost. But for aspiring real estate agent Isabel Barado, it's when can I start working?
On the piece of paper that they give you when you pass your test, it says you can expect your license to be issued in around 10 business days.
But it actually took Barado the last 2.5 months to receive her license and start showing open houses, just like this one in North Austin. A period of time she wasn't earning income since she couldn't legally work yet.
I have clients already lined up, and just having to have them kind of sit on the back burner and wait for me to get this done when it was fully out of my hands was really frustrating and exhausting, and I kind of started to wonder if it was ever going to happen.
The issue Barado was facing was addressed in this month's Texas Real Estate Commission meeting.
The licensing team worked hard to process and review as many applications as possible prior to the transition from Versa to the new system.
Licensing Director for the Texas Real Estate Commission, Denise Sample, explained how the integration of a new system within the agency is causing a backlog of applications for renewals and new license distribution. The commission launched the system on December 2nd and did give members a notice there could be issues.
We did encounter some issues that impacted our ability to process applications in the way we were accustomed and the way the license holders and applicants were accustomed to.
But for Barado, it was a test of patience.
I remember emailing them probably December 14th or 15th and getting a response back in a few days. The response was basically just, we don't know when anything's going to get resolved, just stay tuned.
She's thankful her issue has been resolved, but she's sharing a warning for others who want to enter this career field.
I would say do it. I'm very grateful that I picked this career. I wouldn't change it for a thing, even though we've had all these hardships. But go into it expecting that it's going to be a rocky road for a little while.
Homes are quickly going up for sale, but it may be a while before a new agent can be the one to sell it. In Austin, Jose Alonso, KVUE News.
After a year of construction, phase 1 of the Round Rock Serving Center expansion is complete. The thrift store plans to unveil a larger food pantry as the need for help continues to grow. Here's KVUE's Brianna Perez.
Giving old clothes a new purpose.
It's just kind of an upward spiral. The more we can sell, the more money we can put back into giving where there's needs.
The Round Rock Serving Center is opening the doors to its newly expanded thrift store. Twice the space, twice the impact, and more support for the food pantry and social programs next door.
I was here twice last week, and I came in again today. I don't regret spending the money here because they use it wisely for the other people too.
Executive Director Lori Scott says the goal is to become less reliant on grant funding and create a steady source of unrestricted revenue.
This space was the entire furniture store, and most of the furniture actually had to sit outside in that courtyard area that we're now using for bread and produce racks. Actually, it's spilled into the parking lot, I have to be honest. It was everywhere.
With the new space also means room to grow other operations. The food pantry is now set to move into the area that once held the furniture store. As food insecurity continues to increase in Round Rock, officials say it's needed.
We saw an 8% increase in the amount of food that we distributed. Last year, the prior year, our caseload increased by 11%. The year before that, it was 21%. So we continue to see the need go up.
She says last year the pantry distributed 1.8 million pounds of food and served over 110,000 people.
Families go through and they go through with their grocery cart, make their own selections. We don't just pack a box of food and give it to a family. So the doubling the size of our pantry will be key to provide more selections for our families and more food for our families to choose.
Scott says she's aiming to open the expanded pantry by the end of March, with hopes the new improvements will better serve local families. In Round Rock, Brianna Bettis, KVUE News.
The city of Austin is asking for your help creating a proposed $700 million bond package for the November ballot. They held an open house at Northwest Recreation Center. Community input has already helped narrow down the initial recommendations to 5 areas: transportation, public safety, parks and recreation, watershed, and community facilities. If nothing changes, city officials say the average homeowner would pay about $14 more in taxes per year. It comes after Austin voters rejected a property tax increase last November, known as Proposition Q.
There's a pretty distinct difference between Prop Q and what we're doing here as a bond. Prop Q is really related to the operating expenses of the city. This is for capital improvement projects. So this is for things that are affecting roads and sidewalks and city facilities and things like that.
City staff say your input is key to crafting the final recommendation that will be sent to City Council in May. To see how you can weigh in online and in person, look for a link with this story at kvue.com. Those are the headlines here in Austin. I'm Darrenisha Heron.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at yourmediainsurance.com.
Hi there, I'm weather forecaster Roxy Van Bruden here to give you a look at your statewide forecast. We're looking at a warming trend kicking in across Texas, much sunnier and drier conditions this week. We are going to start off cool and breezy for the start of the week. Temperatures will climb by midweek and the peak of the warmth by next weekend. So we're going to see some really warm temperatures as we head towards the midweek. As far as rain chances, we've got a bit of cloud coverage moving to Dallas, North Texas. Some storms could move through by Wednesday, Thursday, but across Texas, things will stay much warmer and drier and windier this week. Even though the red flag warning has been lifted, we still have elevated fire risk across Texas, especially in south central Texas. Here's a look at our drought monitor. So about 45% of deep south Texas is looking at extreme drought conditions. We have some pockets of exceptional drought down in the valley as far as our friends in West Texas as well, but we are in desperate need of some rain. We're not going to get any rain anytime soon. Things are looking dry. So we actually do have some current burn bans in effect. Originally at November, it got extended till February and now extended until May 11th, 2026. So things to consider and what you should avoid: no campfires, avoid using tools that create sparks, kind of like welding, dispose of cigarettes properly, very important, and don't park your vehicles on grass. So all good tips there. As far as the next 3 days, so let's start off in West Texas, my hometown of El Paso, the Sun City, looking at 69 degrees today, 81 on Tuesday, a little bit windy on Wednesday with 84 degrees. Lubbock, you're looking at 63 today, windy on Tuesday with 85 degrees, a nice beautiful day on Wednesday, also 85 degrees. Midland, you're looking at 64 today with sunny skies, 78 degrees on Tuesday and upper 80s by Wednesday. Our friends in Central Texas, starting off in Austin, we're looking at 67 today, 75 on Tuesday, and warming up to the mid-80s by Wednesday. Waco, you're looking at mid-60s today, mid-70s on Tuesday with windy conditions, and mid-80s on Wednesday. Fredericksburg, 65 today, windy, and the mid-70s on Tuesday, and upper 80s on Wednesday with some sunny, partly cloudy skies. South Texas here in San Antonio, we're looking at 67 degrees, warming up to the lower 70s on Tuesday and low 80s on Wednesday. Corpus Christi, upper 60s today, upper 70s on Tuesday, and upper 80s on Wednesday. Corpus Christi, Laredo, we're looking at 74 degrees today, 83 on Tuesday, sunny skies, and close to triple digits by Wednesday. Going to get pretty warm down in the south. Our friends in North Texas, Dallas is looking at 60 today, 73 on Tuesday with more cloudier skies, and 82 on Wednesday. Same thing for Weatherford, for Denton. Looking at East Texas now, Houston looking nice and sunny today at 66 degrees, 74 on Tuesday, and 82 on Wednesday. Beaumont, you're looking at low 60s today, mid 60s on Tuesday, and nice 75 on Wednesday. Our friends in Tyler, Texas, high of 58 today, a little cool today, 68 on Tuesday, and warming up to 80s by Wednesday. And last but not least, down in the valley, much warmer and windier. We're looking at McAllen at 75 degrees, 83 on Tuesday, low 90s on Wednesday. Brownsville, you're looking beautiful today, 73 degrees, but a little windy by Tuesday and Wednesday in those 80s. Mission, you're looking at 75 today, 83 on Tuesday, and nice 74 degrees by Wednesday. And here's a look at your extended forecast with the weekend in view. Keeping that warming trend throughout the weekend with those nice and sunny skies. And that's a look at your statewide forecast.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at yourmediainsurance.com.
I'm Teresa Woodard in Dallas with a look at your North Texas headlines. In Arlington, police say a 14-year-old boy is dead after playing with a gun with friends. Police say he was shot Friday night in a home on Sausalito Drive near West Arkansas and Little Road. Here's Richard Solomon now with more on the investigation.
Around 10:30 Friday night on Sausalito Drive, police sirens and flashing lights broke the silence. Arlington police say officers were called to a home on the 4600 block. Police say a 14-year-old was shot and killed when they say he and some friends were reportedly playing with a gun. The Tarrant County medical examiner identified the victim as Riley Jordan. And Arlington police say the teen and a group of friends were handling a weapon and pointing it at one another. Police say the teen that fired the gun was arrested and is charged with manslaughter. Right now, police are still trying to figure out how the teens got a hold of the weapon to begin with. They have not yet released the identity of the teen arrested, but on this street in Arlington, what started out as a night with friends ended in tragedy. In Arlington, I'm Richard Solomon.
The Dallas City Council will spend this week debating a report that says repairing and maintaining Dallas City Hall will cost a tremendous amount of money. The report was compiled by the Economic Development Corp. It estimates renovations to City Hall over the next couple of decades could top $1 billion. That is far higher than an initial estimate of $300 million. The report also suggests the city should find a new home for operations. Preservationists are pushing to save the building. It was designed by famed architect I.M. Pei. The coalition called Save City Hall sent us a statement criticizing the report. The coalition calls it biased and says it starts from the premise that the building is a problem, not a civic asset. The group also said the report overlooks the cost associated with relocating. The University of North Texas in Denton has a budget problem, and university officials say federal immigration policy is a big reason why. The university says its deficit is now about $45 million. That's $14 million higher than what was projected last fall. Part of the problem is a loss of state funding, but UNT has also seen the number of international students cut almost in half. Officials blame recent changes to federal visa policies. UNT's president says there are hard choices ahead. Imagine owning a business, but your phone number is suddenly flagged as a scam. That happened to a North Texas company. They could not get any answers about why, but senior investigative reporter Tanya Eiserer did.
The number you are calling has been identified as likely a scam.
That's the message T-Mobile customers heard when they tried to call a local small business.
It's recommended you hang up now.
A warning before the business ever had a chance to answer.
When our calls won't go through, people not responding to our calls, calling back, that's our lifeline for our business.
Al and Stacy Scott own Dallas by Definition, a company that conducts focus groups.
We're not telemarketers. We don't sell anything. We just do research.
But as the message shows, T-Mobile had labeled their business a possible scam.
Which means nobody's ever going to call us to do the research studies.
Hey, this is Steve calling from Dallas by Definition.
And when Dallas by Definition tried to call people with T-Mobile numbers,
It just goes straight to busy and then hang up.
he contacted T-Mobile.
I got the runaround. They just would not put me in place with the right person to resolve the issue.
How frustrating has this been for you guys?
Yeah, extremely. It's in someone else's hands to take care of my business to let my calls go through.
In desperation, the Scotts emailed our Investigates tip line.
The number you are calling has
We checked with people in our newsroom who have T-Mobile, and sure enough, they were getting that message. In a statement to WFA, T-Mobile said it had removed the label listing the number as a potential scam number. The company also said it uses technology to help identify and reduce scam and spam phone calls, but occasionally legitimate numbers can be flagged.
It would have been nice a week ago if I would have got that response from T-Mobile.
The label is gone, but the Scotts are still asking why it happened at all. In Irving, I'm Tanya Eiser.
Here's a story about a gift that comes full circle. A daughter giving her mother a chance at life, something they hope inspires others. Here's Kevin Reese.
A night of music in Fort Worth sounded a bit different for Jennifer Sturgis. Not just because the hard rocker went acoustic for a change, but for the change that was just a few days away.
Hey, thank you so much. Tonight's set is super special because this is the last time I'm going to be playing before I have surgery.
Okay, these are all the tubes that go on.
This is her mom, Shirley.
One for each bag.
At home in Irving.
This is my dialysis machine.
The peritoneal dialysis machine that she is hooked up to.
There's a tube that goes in.
10 hours every night.
And just kind of fills you up.
Circulating fluid through her abdomen to make up for the kidneys that no longer work.
I either do this or I choose not to live anymore.
Mom's told me several times now that if I want to back out, I can. I was like, that's not an option. Like, what are you talking about?
What she's talking about is being a living kidney donor.
I got to give Mom our Christmas miracle.
Jen and her sister both got tested.
I gave her a necklace like this. We're both wearing them.
Jen was the best match.
The fact that they would offer me part of them to keep me healthier, more active, happier for the rest of my life. But, you know, it's amazing.
I'm doing it because she would do it for me. It's as simple as that. If you can make someone's miracle happen, why would you not want to do that?
That miracle happened January 30th at Baylor Scott & White in Dallas. Doctors say the transplant was a success. Both mom and daughter are recovering well. The emotion of all this, however, may take a while to fade.
Because my mom's just amazing. She's a great person. She's been very giving all her life. She's been a great mom. I think that the world needs more people like my mom, so I want to keep her here.
A mom who is also a 3-time cancer survivor and a widow who lost her husband to prostate cancer 8 years ago.
Life has thrown me so many things. I cry in private. I don't cry in public.
Tough as nails.
And at that music set back at the Cicada, Jen sang 2 songs about motherhood. About her own young daughter.
Trying to create the best life possible, no matter what the circumstances are. The goal is to make her the best human being as possible, and that's what I got from Mom.
And now you're doing a little bit of it in reverse.
Trying.
You are.
Yeah, you are.
Because for a mom and daughter, family is everything, and also a chance for the music to play on.
Keep living and living a better life than what we've had so far.
Hey, thanks, guys. We had a lot of fun.
In Irving, I'm Kevin Reese.
That mother-daughter bond is special. Those are your headlines from North Texas.
I'm Mike Gillespie in Corpus Christi, and here's a look at some of what's happening in South Texas. The Nueces River Authority is moving full speed ahead on a major pipeline tied to the Harbor Island desalination project. It's a plan that supporters say is critical to South Texas' water future. Now, the board approved a $500,000 fee to Lockwood Andrews and Newman Engineering to start work on the pipeline, which will eventually produce over 400 million gallons of water a day. The city of Corpus Christi has reserved 50 million gallons a day, and companies looking to finance and run the project are already lining up.
That train is rolling down the track, and it will be done. And why? It's mainly because of the need.
Now, additional engineering work has also been approved to get the pipeline tunnel off of Harbor Island and into the city, with water delivery expected by December of 2029. A local photographer is bringing all of Padre Island's charm and beauty to life through her work. She's known as Padre Island Madre, and she has a community of more than 100,000 followers on social media. As Natalia Osuna explains, they are the folks who enjoy seeing a little piece of the island through her daily photos.
Have you seen this photo online? Or how about this one? If you have, it's all thanks to Padre Island Madre, a local photographer who's sharing her love of the island through her lens. And today I introduce you to the woman behind the camera. On social media, many know Padre Island Madre through her photos, but nobody knows who she is.
I've just always had a camera in my hand. I've always loved taking pictures. And I always knew I wanted to be a photographer, but I honestly never knew that this is where I was going to end up.
And the island took that passion for photography to another level. Madre says it all started when she moved to the island with her family 4 years ago from Amarillo.
Had a month-long beach vacation here, and that kind of sold us. We knew we wanted to stay forever.
From wildlife to fishermen, every single day she goes out at sunrise to capture Mother Nature's gifts.
I wanted a place to post my pictures. And little by little, I started getting more followers, and it took me about a year to get to 1,000 followers, and then it started growing from there. And now we're almost at year 4 with 105,000 followers.
Madre credits relatability as a key to her growth.
Before I moved here, I was the person that was on Facebook watching videos of Padre Island and looking at pictures.
She says she's grateful for the community she's found.
I want to be their happy place and bring them the peace that they need, these waves of peace, because that's all somebody needs sometimes during the day.
Padre Island Madre tells me she's expanding her work this year beyond sunrises and showcase the island at different times throughout the day. Reporting on Padre Island, I'm Natalia Osuna, 3 News.
You ought to find her on Facebook. Hey, aviation students at Flower Bluff ISD recently rolled out their very own handmade aircraft, and they have now put that work to the test. Safe to say it passed with flying colors. Yeah, that was the sound of success for aviation students along with their instructor and the volunteers from Corpus Christi Army Depot. They successfully fired up the engine on the first student-built plane for the program. For the past 2 years, juniors and seniors in the district's Hornet Aviation program built the aircraft from start to finish, and the successful start of the engine showcases the skill and dedication of those students. And that is a quick look at some of what's happening right here in South Texas.
Well, here are your headlines from Southeast Texas. I'm Nick Canizales. Southeast Texas is remembering Hargy Faye Savoy, a civil rights pioneer, community leader, and grandmother to State Representative Christian Manuel. The 96-year-old was surrounded by family when she died recently at her home in Port Arthur. The Port Arthur native was known for her strength, her faith, and her unwavering love for people. 12 News Evening anchor Clayton Rhodes sat down with Representative Manuel to hear about Savoy's lifelong mission of spreading dignity and also compassion.
She was my best friend. She has been my best friend since I was born. She is my everything, and she always will be. That's who she is.
Hargy Faye Savoy may be gone, but State Representative Christian Manuel says the memories of his grandmother will last forever.
She always believed in looking forward and remembering to love ye one another as I have loved you. And that's what she instilled in us. And that's what she tried to always remind us was we can make things better, but we have to do it with love. And that's really who she was at the core of who she was.
In the 80s, the Port Arthur native befriended Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s wife.
This picture here was the last time that I saw Coretta.
And at Coretta Scott King's request, she started the Port Arthur MLK Support Group, a thriving organization with hundreds of active members.
As a representative and the president of the Martin Luther King Jr. Support Group of Southeast Texas, I would like to say to you that I thank you for all that you have done.
Port Arthur honored her legacy by naming a street Hargy Faye Savoy Way in 2022.
I love Port Arthur.
Although she was loved and cherished by many, some of us were introduced to Hargy Faye in August 2025. That's when DPS troopers spent the day parked outside of her home in Port Arthur.
But I've been fearful of why he's there.
The visit came after Governor Greg Abbott vowed to use the DPS to locate and detain Democratic lawmakers who left the state to break quorum during a legislative dispute.
I knew where to go. I went to Jesus. But I didn't only ask him to take care of Christian. I asked him for all of his comrades was there with him to see them safe and bring them back.
Throughout life's ups and downs, the state rep says his grandmother remained steadfast and unmovable.
When she was born and was married and had children, she couldn't vote. And then she was able to vote. She's seen a lot, but she always believed in loving people.
That was Clayton Rhodes reporting. A memorial service for Savoy has been set for February 26 at the Bob Bauer Civic Center in Port Arthur. A World War II hero from Beaumont is finally home after nearly 8 decades. U.S. Army 2nd Lieutenant Frank Alfred Johnstone was killed in action in February of 1945. The Beaumont native returned to Southeast Texas after officials identified his remains through DNA analysis earlier this year. He was a young navigator aboard a B-24 Liberator on a bombing mission over Austria when his plane took a direct hit and never made it home. A solemn escort brought from Houston's George Bush Intercontinental Airport back to Beaumont.
We believe our heroes that serve us in the military deserve an escort home on their final ride. So we went over there, waited for the plane, and then when they got him into the hearse, then we took off on the trek to head back.
Johnstone will be laid in a burial plot at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, a plot his parents purchased decades ago, always believing their son would one day come home. Well, the Nederland community has rallied around City Council member Jeff Ortiz with a special fundraiser after Ortiz was diagnosed with colon cancer back in November. What began as a hospital visit for a fever in October quickly turned into a life-changing diagnosis in November. It turned out to be stage 3 colon cancer. Jeff Ortiz is known to many in Nederland as a City Council member and the city's mayor pro tem. Now he's trying to keep a positive outlook. Ortiz says that having his community rally around him means a lot.
I'm blessed that I have the help. I call them angels, and I think that everyone deserves support, and whether it's from one person or 100, we all deserve support and deserve that feeling.
Jeff's twin brother John, the pastor at the Revived Church where Jeff was a member, the fundraiser was held at the church's local parking lot there on Saturday, where they had food, a silent auction, and a raffle to help Ortiz pay for medical expenses. And those were the headlines from Southeast Texas.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at yourmediainsurance.com.
I'm Vanessa Croy, and this is the news in San Antonio. We're learning new details about a shooting happening earlier in the month at a Stone Oak nightclub. Police have now identified the suspect who was shot after investigators say he pulled out a gun and pointed it at the club's security guards. According to an arrest warrant, 35-year-old Kendall Hutchinson was intoxicated and refused to leave the Culture Club off Sonterra Drive. On-site security walked Hutchinson to his car when police say he started threatening the guards, saying, quote, "When I get to my car, I'm going to kill you." Detectives say Hutchinson then pulled out a gun with a green laser on it, and one of the guards saw the laser painted on the other guards. He told Hutchinson to drop the gun. But according to that warrant, Hutchinson refused, and the guard shot him twice. He was rushed to the hospital, and at last check, he is still in the hospital.
Hey, who got hit? Who got hit? Somebody screaming. Somebody got hit.
Desperate questions captured in the chaos after a man was gunned down in a parking lot in the early morning hours of New Year's Day. And now, more than a year later, an arrest. Police say 39-year-old Mark Howard Anthony is behind bars, charged with murder in the killing of Marcus Robinson Tynes. A newly released arrest warrant revealing the chilling chain of events that unfolded outside the Stout House bar off Petrenko Road. Investigators say it all started as an argument inside the bar and quickly spiraled into violence outside. According to that warrant, tensions between two groups escalated then into fistfights in the parking lot. Once again, this happened the early morning hours of January 1st of last year. Well, that's when police say Robinson Tynes tried to intervene using his truck to separate the chaos. But in seconds, investigators say Anthony and another suspect pulled out guns and opened fire. Robinson Tynes was shot in the back of the head. When officers got there, they found him still sitting behind the wheel of his truck. He died less than an hour later. Detectives say surveillance video and witness statements helped them identify Anthony as one of the shooters. He's now in jail on a $125,000 bond. According to online court records, the second suspect is still on the run. A usually quiet town disrupted by gunfire. A shooting sending one man to the hospital. It all happened in Natalia, southwest of San Antonio. KENS 5's Mike Jimenez spoke with the Medina County Sheriff and has more.
Medina County Sheriff Randy Brown was only able to provide us a few details as this is an ongoing investigation, but here's what we do know. Now, Sheriff Brown says it was just before noon Saturday when they responded to the shooting on 3rd Street here in Natalia. That's near Farm to Market Road 471. Sheriff Brown says there was some sort of dispute between two men at a trailer home. That's when one of the men pulled out a gun and shot the other. The man who was shot was rushed to the hospital. No word on his condition tonight. And we spoke with a couple of residents who didn't want to go on camera, but say there was a large law enforcement response to the shooting in what they say is normally a quiet neighborhood. Sheriff Brown says they were able to take the suspect into custody and were in the process of questioning him. Now, Sheriff Brown was not able to say how the two men knew each other or what led up to the shooting.
Mike Jimenez.
Police say a driver running a red light may be to blame for sparking a violent chain reaction crash involving 7 vehicles on the northeast side. It happened just after 5 Saturday night. Police say a driver in a black Chevy Colorado ran a red light off Nacogdoches Road, triggering a rollover and multiple crashes. 2 people are in critical condition. We're waiting for an update from police on how those other victims are doing. He's linked to a violent gang and one of the most wanted fugitives in Texas. And right now, he's still on the run. According to DPS, 36-year-old Jamie Nicholas Wilson is a member of the Black Gangster Disciples Nation. According to officials, Wilson is one of the top 10 most wanted fugitives in Texas. A manhunt for his capture has been going on since June. He's wanted for a parole violation and tampering with his ankle monitor. He also has a long list of prior convictions. If you've seen him or know where he is, call Texas Crime Stoppers. They're offering a $5,000 reward for anyone that has information that leads to his arrest. A Bernie man will spend decades behind bars after pleading guilty to possessing child pornography. On Friday, a judge sentenced 51-year-old Toby Beaumont to 40 years in prison after investigators found more than 500 images and videos on his electronic devices. The Kendall County Sheriff's Office says the investigation started in 2024 after they got a tip. During the case, investigators say Beaumont admitted he'd been viewing child pornography for years. Authorities say some of the material involved children as young as toddlers. And happening Monday, the San Antonio City Council is set to discuss a possible censure of Mayor Gina Ortiz-Jones. Last week, 5 city council members submitted a memo calling for the possible censure, alleging unprofessional conduct over the past 7 months when interacting with city staff, council members, and residents. Political expert John Taylor believes there could be multiple consequences.
The real issue is what it means in terms of political capital, what it means in terms of her relationship with the city council going forward. Those are the things where a censure vote, and particularly if it's a successful censure vote, how that could impact mayoral council relations in the future.
The mayor has said in a statement earlier the month she acknowledges she has disagreed with her colleagues about what's best for the city, adding she looks forward to working with her colleagues in the future. As for Monday's special meeting, City Council will discuss the possible censure behind closed doors, but they stress no action will be taken. And that's your news in San Antonio.
I'm Adriana Alexander. Here are your headlines from Central Texas. A wildfire that's been burning and spreading through Burnett County since early Saturday morning is now almost 100% contained. The fire is along Wolf Ridge and Briggs Roads. According to the Texas A&M Forest Service map, the fire spread at least 250 acres, but is now 75% contained as of Sunday. Fire crews across Burnett and nearby counties have worked overnight to get that fire contained and say they will continue to do so until it is completely put out. The cause of that fire is unknown. The Waco Federal Courthouse is officially on the market, but before you start wondering whether it's going anywhere, officials say that's not the plan. 6 News anchor Adrian Carbajal looked into what sale actually means for the future of the building and the federal agencies inside.
The federal courthouse building in Waco is up for sale, but no matter who the buyer is, the courthouse will keep its doors open. The building is currently owned by the United States Postal Service and fully occupied by the General Services Administration. It houses federal courtrooms, the U.S. Attorney's Office, and the U.S. Marshals Service. JLL, the commercial real estate firm marketing the property, says the goal is to find a new investor, not change the building's use.
They would like to sign a new long-term lease with a new owner. The previous lease that they had with USPS has expired, so they're occupying on a month-to-month basis, and they'd prefer to have a long-term lease negotiated with a new owner.
While appraisal district records value the property at around $9 million, Fuller says a new appraisal is underway and an asking price has not been set yet.
The owner of the property is actually the United States Postal Service. They've asked us to market this for sale on their behalf, with the intention of finding a new investor who has experience with GSA leased assets and we're currently in the marketing process.
Right now, the courthouse is paying just over $2.1 million annually in rent under a modified gross lease. Any new lease terms would be negotiated with a future owner. Fuller says negotiations.
It'd just be a real estate investor that we expect to purchase it. This is an interesting dynamic, not having an active lease in place. So there will need to be some negotiation with the GSA, I would expect, before somebody's able to close on a purchase.
And Fuller says right now they are still in the early stages of a potential sale, but will know more in the coming weeks. A Waco man is days away from graduating from a program that opened doors he never thought possible. After Jason Solomon got out of the prison system, he hoped to return to truck driving, a job he had for almost 20 years, but no one would hire him. After Solomon told a church friend about struggling to find work, they suggested calling TSTC about their Industrial Automation and Manufacturing Systems program. He snagged the last spot. Now instructors say he's a leader in the class, solving problems and standing out. Just days away from graduation, Solomon is proud of committing to his second chance.
You need to grab hold onto it, because if you don't grab onto that second chance when it's there, you're just going to slip right back into the things that you're doing. But it's also recognizing for what it is. Recognizing that you're given the ability, the option to start your life over again.
And companies are already taking notice. Solomon says one application has already moved from under review to the assessment stage for a lead maintenance tech position. And those are your headlines from Central Texas.
Hello and welcome to our East Texas Headlines. I'm Jimmy Searfoss. As we continue to celebrate Black History Month here at CBS 19, earlier this weekend, one Tyler organization marked the occasion by focusing on wellness. Empowerment hosted its third annual Black Wellness Expo Saturday at APEC. Music, movement, and meaningful conversations filled the space as dozens gathered for the event. Held during Black History Month, the expo celebrated not only culture and community, but whole person wellness, highlighting mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and financial health.
People are just getting caught up in life and just trying to make it, that they're forgetting to take care of themselves. It's very important to take care of yourself, whether it be mentally, spiritually, physically. It all encompasses together. I think right now, because of the state of the world, it's a good idea for everybody to just kind of stop, take a breath, and put themselves first, make themselves a priority.
The event also spotlighted Black-owned businesses across East Texas, giving entrepreneurs a platform to share their products and services within the community. Organizers say that they plan to continue growing the expo each year. Well, teamwork is at the heart of baseball and softball, and in one East Texas town, that team spirit goes far beyond the field. The Chandler Sports Association is stepping up to the plate for one of their own. CBS 19's Nayeli Carrillo introduces a 9-year-old Aaron Wayne, whose resilience and bravery is inspiring an entire community.
Baseball and softball are about more than hits and home runs.
Baseball, to me, is the greatest thing ever.
They're about teammates cheering each other on and showing up when it matters most.
He's strong and he's got a ton of support throughout the community and everywhere.
That's exactly what the Chandler Sports Association is doing for Aaron Wayne Dalton. On December 26th, an explosion left him with severe burns. Since then, he's endured multiple surgeries, daily therapy, and a long road to recovery.
We went to visit him, and everything that went on, he still had a smile on his face. And that just speaks volumes to the kid he is and how hard he's fighting. And he wants to get back to this community.
And Aaron Wayne is excited to be back, too.
I'd be really glad because I haven't had anyone my age come in the hospital.
He's been part of CSA since he was 5 years old, starting in T-ball.
I was one of his coaches, and that kid just has the biggest heart that you could ever imagine.
Saturday morning, the association held a benefit tournament for people with Down syndrome.
Chandler's a small little town, but people, when we need help, people show up.
A uniform that Aaron Wayne will soon wear.
He's gonna be one of us now, being a park director, and he's gonna call some shots.
And I want him to be my right-hand man. And if anything goes on, I know Aaron Wayne's the man to handle it.
And while the community waits to welcome him home, his courage, his smile, and his resilience
I'll just say I thank everyone for that.
are proving that sometimes the strongest players aren't just the ones on the field. In Chandler, Nayeli Carrillo, CBS 19.
Also this weekend, Smith County Emergency Services District 2 spent a lot of time battling several acres of fire alongside County Roads 346 East and 246 South. This video that you're seeing right now, provided by Smith County ESD2's Facebook page, shows some of those fires in action. As of now, they're saying that there's no structures that were in danger and no injuries have been reported from the fires, but Highway 31 at 757 was temporarily shut down as crews worked a major accident there. Crews were also able to quickly control the fire on 346 East, but this is an aerial view of 246 South where the fire grew to close to 100 acres. Those have been your East Texas headlines. I'm Jimmy Searfoss.
Texas News Now is sponsored by Germania Insurance.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at germaniainsurance.com.